Okay. Looks
Yeah,
like you started
good evening.
recording. So I'll also start. Hi, I'm Priya, and I'm from Bangalore. And I do lots of things. I also do a lot of manipulation. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, it's a topic of interest for a lot of us because most of us are married and or maybe in a relationship of some kind. Um, it's not possible that we are born without relationship. So we have either parents or partners or someone in our life we think we are not able to get through. And I was in the same space. I was one of those straightforward person, and it wasn't very easy for me. I usually used to get into fights. And is it possible to mute someone? Like I think there is a background noise coming in. Okay, thank you. So I was one of those straightforward people, and Priya is here, and Alti is here, and Vijay is here, and Preeti. So, and Vivo, I don't know, sorry, there is no name displayed here. So thank you very much for joining. And if you're joining, I think that there was a element that attracted you about manipulation, and that's what we will address. So at any point of time, feel free to interrupt me and ask a question. This is not about my gatha or something. I'm going to be sharing lots of things and tools that worked for me, and it took some time for me to get here. As I said, I came from a very, very straightforward background where honesty was everything. And if you're not honest and straightforward to people, you are not so good person. Manipulation was totally bad. Being a diplomat was out of the, it's like you would be outcasted if you be a diplomat. And frankly, I had lots of problems. Like even being a friend with someone was a problem because it wasn't so easy. People are not ready to hear truth. Have you ever observed that people would say that give me feedback and I'm open to that, but when you open your mouth, it doesn't really go the way you think it should have gone or the way they think they were projecting that it would go. And it's like a smack on your face. I did that entire life. Like my boss used to say, be open and tell me everything. And I would just go vomit everything in front of them. And next thing I know is my performance review is affected. I used to be straightforward with my partner too. Like for me, it was important to be honest, and I used to give every single, um, awareness that I had in my universe to him, and it didn't really work. So obviously, I had my moments. I had years of suffering and pain through that. And I was still holding on to that because it's like, so near and dear to you, something that was ingrained in your childhood as something very right and morals. And the Amar Chitrakatha also talks about it. Or pick up any other mythological book on the honesty or the story of Harish Chandra. If you have ever read it, for me, he was idol. So everything you bought from mythology, everything you bought from your parents, everything you bought from your dadima or nanima or dadaji or nanaji or teachers about honesty and telling the truth, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pound for corner, and chores, quiz, and beyond. So if honesty would have worked, your life would have been different now. So one of the things that's there in the foundation manual of access consciousness is be truthfully honest to yourself and lie to everyone else. That's Gary's line, by the way. He says that, and he says, if you want to learn how to lie, come to me. I will teach you. He's the greatest liar. He's the greatest manipulator. And by the way, he does that from a space of how do I create greater in the world? How do I create ease for me? How do I create ease for this person? How do I bring out the greatness in this person? So when he is working from that perspective, when there is a lie also, and sometimes he could be lying to people who he doesn't like really or who he thinks should die, but maybe they like this. I know it sounds very weird that someone like Gary would expect someone to die or something, but he is like, okay, if death of that person is going to be a contribution to this world and consciousness, yes, why not? Okay, so I don't want to take it that way. We will bring it back to the husbands and let's talk about husbands or partners or whoever you want to talk about. We can talk about them and talk about manipulation in general. So everywhere you have made, before that, we'll clear something so that we get to a point where we are in allowance of manipulation. Okay, what is allowance? Having no point of view about manipulation itself. So if you have got any points of views about manipulation, chances are that you have been manipulated a lot. And if you have made manipulation wrong, maybe you got into situation, you were not aware of manipulation, so aware of everything, right? So if you're not aware of something that's happening in front of you, whether it's about somebody brainwashing you or about manipulating you or trying to be mean to you, you are somewhere getting into trouble. You're creating some suffering or pain for yourself. So what if you could be totally aware? And that's the antidote to everything, by the way, being aware to everything. So if somebody starts manipulating, you would know they are manipulating only if you don't have any point of view about manipulation or a manipulator. If you have point of view about manipulators, they would anyway get through the barriers that you have and somewhere hurt you. If not anything, you would just feel bad that that person was trying to manipulate you. So they left something in you, right? They have given you pain. So it's not that the manipulator always gets his way or something. If they succeed in some way or other, if you have some kind of point of view about manipulation. So are you willing to let go of the points of views you have about manipulation? Right on with that one for online shirts, price and views. Everywhere you have made manipulation wrong. Shall we now destroy and uncreate all of that? Right on with that point for online shorts, price and views. And everywhere you have made manipulators wrong and you have hated them. All the points of views that are coming up right now about manipulators and manipulation. Shall we now destroy and uncreate all of that? Right on with that point for online shorts, price and views. Okay, so the greatest manipulators, as per Gary and as per me, are animals and children. They come with their cute faces. They sit in front of you, and they demand the weirdest thing in the world, and you would resist it to a point where you just melt down and give into it. So how cute can you be to be, you have to be the cuteness, the energy of cuteness to be a manipulator. Are you willing to be a manipulator? No. Manipulation is still wrong. I can't do it. I'll be a bitch if I do it. What if you could be the biggest bitch in the world? And Gary's clearings or in access consciousness, the way we do it is, what energy space consciousness can I be to be the biggest bitch in the world I can truly be? Okay? Or for all eternity. And everything that doesn't allow shall be now destroyed and get all of that. Right on with that conquer online shorts words and beyond. So yeah, I know all these words bring in so much of crap, right? Because you have hated these kind of people. In your childhood, you hated somebody who was a manipulator, who you hated someone who was a bitch, or whatever it was. You have hated them, and somehow now to become that means you would be hated by other people too. But what if I can tell you that you can be a different energy here than what that was? That was from a space of maybe unconsciousness or to hurt you. Okay, what if you could choose something different? What if you could outcreate the manipulation of this reality? What if you could outcreate the bitchiness of this reality? What if you could be the bitch who creates consciousness in the world by choosing manipulation? Don't we all wish that my husband should come for these classes, or why is he not choosing? Why more men are not coming why there are very less participants in my class. What if we could be the manipulation energy to invite people into this? Whatever it takes. Are you willing to be that? So even with your partner, when we go them and tell them about, hey, this consciousness and all of that, it's awesome. You must do it. There's something wrong with you, and you must do this. And if you come to this, you'll be fixed. Do they come? They'll be like, no, I'm not coming. So what if you could be an invitation? Okay, so I think Preeti, question is for Vijay, so you can answer. So what if you could actually be get invitation to them? And what if you could be a manipulation energy? So now I can give you examples that worked for me. And basically, the biggest manipulation tool for me was allowance. So when I was in total allowance of his choices, they were good, the bad, or ugly, and she is not arguing with her happy. I see her going to these classes, coming back even more looking radiant, and she seems to be creating her life too. Money seems to be flowing. Observe me for years. To that point, what you do does make sense. Maybe it was there in his universe even before that, that whatever I do makes sense to him. But it took him time to come up to me and say that, like put words in front of me. It took some time. And when he came to me, I didn't get it. Oh, now you know that a consciousness works, right? I said, just thank you. What if we don't make our partner's choices wrong? For whatever it is, whether you're inviting them to consciousness or you want them to come for anything else that you do, or you want them to do some housework. What if we can have total allowance for that? When we approach someone from a space of no judgment, when we use the words that are not meant to hurt them, things do work differently. So for me, when I am with someone and I know there's a difficult situation coming and I know I have to be the manipulation energy and I don't know what words to use, I always use this theory. What ESC can I be to find exact words that I can put together to change all of this? And everything that doesn't allow, just try to get all of that, right from the platform for comment, shows so isn't yours. The words just flow out of my mouth and I'll be surprised. How did I say that? So to give you an example, my husband was one of those who would never ever do housework for him. It was someone else's job. He said, this is boring. This is like whatever it is, I'm never going to touch. If I had, like if I continue fighting with him, if I continue doing that, this is wrong attitude, I'm sure wouldn't have led to this, where he is now willing to look at, oh, what contribution can I be now here? And he recognizes that I am overburdened, and he recognizes that he needs to make a contribution here. And he also gave up on the points of views he had about the routine work. And you know how it happened, because used to see, oh, she's doing regular cleaning, regular this and that, and she comes back and she writes in those journals. I don't know what she writes. And one day he asked me, what do you write in those journals? I said, whenever I do some routine work, I get great ideas. And I have this thing that, okay, I will put that idea in the journal book so that somewhere when I have time to look at this journal book, I will see, okay, which idea makes sense and I can go with that. And he said, has it really worked? I showed him the book and he saw that, oh, there are so many things that you have already created. So what was I being? I was being the invitation to him. Okay. So in one of the calls, Gary gave me this clearing and been running it often too. So what ESC can I be? To be the manipulator greater than what Gary is. And everything that doesn't allow, just run and get all of that. Right, wrong, good, bad, point, for calling, shots, ways, and beyond. And this is kind of running in my mind. Okay, Priyanka can't hear. Is it just for her or everyone else is also experiencing that?
Yes, it keep breaking. Your voice keep breaking.
Oh, okay. Priya, is it okay for you?
It was
Otherwise,
breaking
I'll.
some time back. Now it is okay, but it was breaking some time back. I think the network.
Okay. Okay. Is it if it's too bad, let me know.
No, it's fine
I'll.
for me. It's fine for me, actually. It's fine.
Okay.
Could you please repeat the clearing that you gave? It
Yes.
was breaking.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. So, what energy space consciousness can you be to be the manipulator greater than what Gary is? And everything that doesn't allow, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pawn for call nine, shorts, boys, and beyond. So I keep running this clearing in my head all the time. It's not on the loop, it's not on my phone, it's there in my head. Like, what energy space consciousness can I be to be a manipulator greater than what Gary is? And everything that doesn't allow, destroy and uncreate all of that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pound for color, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yes, when I run this clearing, few things also fall out of my mouth that I'm surprised about. When I run these clearings, I have done things I have never ever done. And when I've been running this clearing, I can tell you my partner has changed for sure. Not just him, lot of other people too. Like right. So all the like one thing you have to keep in mind. This is a weird thing about consciousness. So the universe supports you, or the elementals support you only when you ask for something which is from the space of consciousness. If I have tried to use it for my self-interest, it has often not worked. Yeah. So if you want like your partner to be some way towards you because you have that image or that expectations from them, it may not be a best idea to use it because they are going to sense that you are manipulating. And by the way, often my husband would come and say, "You become such a manipulator," and I would say, "Yes." And I would put up a cute face in front of him, and he would be like, "Yes, okay, fine." She's not going to change it this way anyway. So what if you could not? What if you can be in that space where you don't even resist someone calling you a manipulator? It's not that your partner is not going to know that you're manipulating, but you know what, that there would be that invitation to the greatness that you are inviting them to, which will make them feel not so bad about you, or they would actually come and compliment you that you have become a manipulator in a very different way.
Oh,
Okay, so what if
I
you
have
could not, what if you,
I have a question if you don't mind.
yes, please.
So how do you deal with a great manipulator who treats
Yes,
you like
please.
you are a doormat, even though you try to be truthful, you try to be a good human being, and you try to be helpful, but they still try to manipulate you, and you know that person is a great manipulator. How do you deal with this person? Because that person thinks that because you are nice, you have to be nice, and whatever you are asked to do, you have to help even though you're happy or not. It's like friends all around.
Oh, wow. So with the manipulators, I always ask this question, how can I outcreate this manipulator? Okay, so if somebody is trying to manipulate me, since I'm being present to their manipulation, I always ask this question, how do I outcreate this manipulator now? Okay, and another thing is about being nice and pleasing others is not about, that's not manipulation. See, that's a pace, or that's an expectation people have from us, or we have from ourselves, that we need to be nice to everyone. What if we don't have to be nice to everyone? what if walking away from someone also could be a form of manipulation? Like, I don't know whether you have shopped on, like, if you go for shopping on the street and if you're bargaining with someone, if bargaining with a shopkeeper, the greatest manipulation that we do is we walk away. We pretend that we are done with this deal and we walk away. And that works very well because the shopkeeper calls you back saying that, okay, madam, your deal is this. I'm going to negotiate a little bit on that. So sometimes walking away from someone also could be could be form of manipulation. That's why I'm not trying to give the forms of manipulation here because I don't know what's going to show up in that situation. That's why I asked this question, what energy space consciousness can I be to be the manipulator here, manipulator greater than what Gary is? Because when I do that clearing, something shows up, and it's not always about being nice to someone and being cute and being pleasing and being using those words that are put together to sugarcoat and being sweet to someone else. No, that's not what manipulation is, or that's not the only form of manipulation that is. There are many other ways. As I said, was a total game changer for me, and that turned out to be the manipulation for him. So being nice to someone, you have decided to be nice to someone, shall we now turn a case against you because because they know that being nice is so much important for you that you wouldn't give it up. So then they use it against you and then they manipulate you. So everywhere you have decided you've got to be nice to others, shall we now display and get all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, wrong for corner and shorts, boys and heels.
I have a question.
I'm not sure whether
I have a question, if you don't mind. If I have attracted a manipulator in my outer reality, so in my inner reality, what's linked, what's connected? Because whatever I've created in my inner reality reflects back into my outer reality. So I am not understanding the connection here.
Okay, so do you mean to say that how do you uncreate that, or how did you attract this manipulator?
Yes. How did I? Yeah.
Me?
How did I attract a manipulator? Does it mean that I am a manipulator myself? That's why I've attracted.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. So sometimes in our universe we have some point of view. So the law of attraction or the universe works on our point of view creates our reality, right? So whatever that point of view is that's applicable to you, that's attracting the manipulator in your life. Now that could be something like I hate manipulators, or
yes.
I would like to understand. Okay, so when you resist something, it persists in your universe.
Because I keep saying to universe every time,
So
I only want to attract people just like me.
to resist something like I resist also has a point of view, or Dane talks about it, that when we have point of view about something or someone, we have been that and done that in some other lifetime. So in some other lifetime you have been a manipulator, I'm sorry to say that. So we have been everything, like we have done everything in our life, right? Or other lifetime. Chances are that you would judge the manipulators in this lifetime. So if you would like to stop attracting these people, I would say if you can just drop all the points of views you have about manipulation.
Yes. Thank you.
That would actually give you a start, and then you will be able to stop them right at the bottom. They would never. So all the points of views you have about manipulation and manipulators, and everywhere you have been that and done that, shall we not?
Yes. Yes, please.
Right from Goodbye Parker Convent, Shortsways and beyond. And everywhere you were killed, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right from Goodbye Parker Convent, Shortsways and beyond. Okay. Any other question? I would love to listen to some questions, if there are any. And that was a great question, by the way. How do I stop manipulators in my work? To say, what energy space consciousness can I be to invite or to be the magnetic pull for people who would be kind, caring, contributing to me, and everything that doesn't allow this to fit all of that, right from the background for comment, short space and beyond. And what energy space consciousness can I be to invite people who would be grateful for me, and vice versa, and everything that doesn't allow shall be now destroy and get all of that, right from the background for comment, short space and beyond. We can attract the people like just by changing or just by changing our us to the universe. The problem is we are letting this thing happen to us because we think that life is not in our control. But when we take control of everything, including people who actually are around us, we can they will change. Sometimes you throw them out. Are you guys there?
Yes, we are, but your voice is breaking. That's the issue.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yes,
And
ma'am, your voice is breaking.
even
Can
now
you
it's
just
breaking.
repeat? No, now we can hear you. Can you just repeat the last sentence, ma'am?
Yeah, okay. I hope I remember the last sentence. So what I wanted to say was, so we can change people around us. We can change people around us, and sometimes it's not just about changing their personality or something. Sometimes we just pick up people and throw them out of our life.
Okay.
So what if we actually have the power to change everything and anyone around us? As I said, there are many ways to change that. So everything that doesn't allow you to have clarity about that, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right from Gundar Panka Convent, Churchways and beyond. Yeah, Vijay, could you repeat that? Because the flash came and just went off actually.
Just a sentence, like what if we manipulate everything to our advantage and being vulnerable and allowance without being a doormat to anyone?
Yes. Yeah, so being a doormat and vulnerability, that itself is a big topic. But I'd love to talk about that and look at Gary's way of manipulating. He always says, you can't do that. And when he says that, most of us go like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to prove Gary wrong. So Gary is doing that often with us. Okay, I'm going to off track talking about Gary because I want to talk about how Gary manipulates us. And then he would often have all of this in the class happening, and he would yell at you. Okay, and he would just yell at you and say that, shut up, you idiot. And I'm not going to tolerate this. And then when you think that if you look at that yelling as yelling and get mad at Gary, you would miss out the change that he's creating for you. So whatever form you have defined as manipulation in your world, shall we now just try and get all of that? Right from Gurdwara Parker comment, shorts, words, and beyond. Okay, there are many forms of manipulation. And we talked about it a little bit here and there, but I'm repeating it again because we get stuck to the form, like one particular form of manipulation, and that's not what it is. Okay, so That brings a lot in me because I have been on the receiving end of Gary's yelling. So everything that brings up in me, I just run and get all of that, right from that one for comment, short stories, and videos. And I love that about him. He just gives it out, and then you sit down and re-listen or think about what he said, and it changes your universe. Okay. Okay. So everywhere you're resisting manipulation, I'm going to be clearing a couple of things again. Everywhere you're resisting manipulation, shall we now just try and get all of that? Right from that point for corner, short squares and beyonds. Everywhere you are, everywhere you are being a doormat to a manipulator. Could you have clarity now about that? Okay, everything that doesn't allow, shall we now just try and fit all of that? Right from good, bad, point for corner, and short squares and beyonds. What is being a doormat? Where you are used by someone or something to their advantage. So what if, as Vijay said, what if you could use it to your advantage now? What if you could use manipulation to your advantage now to create greater for you and others too? And everything that doesn't allow, shall we now just try and get all of that? Right from good, bad, point for corner, and short squares and beyonds everywhere. You are being a doormat to someone or something, and I have no clarity or clue about that. Shall we bring that clarity now? Right from in the comment, short squares and beyonds. So it could be something simple as taken for granted. Or it could be something like a person constantly demands something from you by doing judgment of you. And to resist their judgment, you do everything possible their way. So that's their way of manipulation. So people use judgment as a way of manipulation or a way to control you. So everywhere you are on the other side of receiving all of that. Shall we now have clarity around that? So everything that doesn't allow you to have total clarity, total awareness about all of that. Shall we now just try and get all of that? Right from Gunda, Panka, short squares and beyonds. And let's talk about the forms of manipulation again. As I said, being cute is not the only way to manipulate people. So I don't know how many of you have done foundation. All of you have done foundation?
Yes, I've done.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so in foundation we talk about sex, right? And in access, sex is talked at a very different level, and it's all about being the sexualness you truly be, right? So when you be the total sexualness you be, that means you be happy when you have orgasmic energy flowing through you. You are already manipulating so many people because they would be like, oh my God, that's awesome. I would like to have that. So what have you defined as manipulation? I see everything as a way to manipulate others. So somebody was asking that I just asked the universe, I said, yeah, you manipulated the universe so that it works your way. And he said, oh, I never looked at manipulation that way. I said, yeah, that's also manipulation. When you have no point of view about manipulation, the moment I say, hey, you manipulated universe, people put a barrier saying that, oh, I didn't manipulate. That's because they think manipulation is wrong. What if everything that you do is to manipulate the molecules around you to create greater? Okay, so all the forms of manipulation and all the definitions of manipulations you have, and being a manipulator, shall we now again for the 100th time, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right from Gundatman for Kola and short space and beyond. Anybody has difficulty with their parents or humans? Like, you know, with humans, nothing seems to work, right? Manipulation works very well with them. So if you have any human in your world, somebody who judges you a lot, maybe you should try manipulation with them. It's going to work very well with them. So with my, you know, like if I have to say this, Yes, pulling and pushing energy is like salespeople. If you are around salespeople, they use a lot of manipulation energy so they're pulling energy from you so that you finally buy their products. So if you're not present to that, you will fall into their trap. But when you become present to that, oh, this is the form of manipulation, you'd be like present to what you really require, rather than buying what they think you should be buying, right? For their own commission or their job. So if you're not present to this, you could actually get into trouble in many places, not just in your life. You could lose your business also because somebody is being a greater manipulator there. Okay. So being present, being aware of everything comes only when we have no judgment of it, right? So that's what we're talking about, getting out of all the judgments. That's what we have been doing from the time we started, getting out of the judgments about manipulation. So everywhere now you have made salespeople wrong. Shall we now describe and get all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, fun for color and shirts, price and beyond. I meet sales guy and say, oh my God, cute fun. How can I have fun with you now? And when you do the pull energy from them, like when you massively pull energy, yeah, they're pulling energy from you, right? So when you flow massive amounts of energy towards them, somewhere they just go away from your universe because they're done. Or sometimes have fun with them. Like when the salespeople call, when they are doing those telecalls, like people will ask me, are you looking for a property? We have this 4-color, total environment bungalow in the outskirts of Bangalore. And I would say, yes, I would be totally interested in, do you offer EMI options? They would give me all the options. And then I say, okay, what's the basic requirement you have? And they'll say this much. And they say, can you lower it to this much? And they will be like, what is this lady talking about? And I'm just having fun having a conversation with them. And towards the end, they realize I'm just having fun with them. And they actually laugh and put the phone down instead of getting angry at me. So once in a while, if you really have time, go do that. I do that often because I feel sorry for them that everybody just say, don't call me again, put my phone number out of your list and I'll block you and all of that. No, I have a conversation with them. Sometimes I even ask them, how are you doing? How's work? Mine sucks. How's yours? And they actually sometimes say that my job sucks too. So can you imagine somebody calling from a company, representing a company, says that their job sucks? So have a good time. Don't resist people. When we resist people, they try to get to you even more. Okay, so everywhere manipulation is a serious job for you. Shall we now destroy and kill all of that? Right from good, bad, fun for online shirts, toys and beyond. How much fun can you have with manipulation? Everything that doesn't allow, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right from good, bad, fun for online shirts, toys and beyond. And how much fun can you have on the other side? When somebody's manipulating you, and how can you have fun when somebody's manipulating you? Everything that doesn't allow, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, fun for online shirts, toys and beyond. What else about manipulation you would like to know?
Can you speak a little more on this last part that you just mentioned? When somebody else is manipulating you, how can you have fun?
Yes. So, when you have awareness that somebody's manipulating you, it's super fun. Because they would go on and on and on about their offers and judgment, and you would be like laughing inside knowing that they're actually manipulating you. That itself is the beginning of the fun that you can have. And a great example of that was about the sales guy, right? They're manipulating you, isn't it? So when you be present to that they are manipulating you, instead of getting sucked into their universe and making everything that they are saying true as true in your universe too. So when you don't do that, when you be present to what they are doing to you can actually have fun with this. You'll be just doing tata bye-bye to their universe and walking away without even feeling hurt or without even feeling some kind of hatred towards them or disgust about them. Most of us actually don't like salespeople. Do you like people who sell access classes to you? It's like, do it, do it, do it. And you resist it so much, right? When they do that.
Yes.
Yeah, what if you could have fun with them?
How?
Like
Give me an
I,
example.
yeah, sure. So I had somebody who was not me, but someone else who was getting bugged by someone who was selling access classes to her. And she tried every way, blocking her, doing this, doing that. I said, you are resisting her manipulation so much. What if you could have ease with her? And then one day when she came to me for a swap, she said that, you know what, I did that. I stopped resisting her. And this time when she sent me a class, I just didn't have any energy to that. And when she called me for that class, I said, you know, Ritu, you've been sending so many classes to me. I wonder if you could give me money for all of this. Like, I need about 1.5 lakh. Could you lend that to me? After that, that person never called. What did this girl do? She actually outcreated her. She was like, you give me money for all these classes now. And when people ask money, you want to resist them, right? Have you ever, you know, we don't like people who ask money to us. So she outcreated that. And that was only possible when she got out of the points of view she had about her. And she did it from a space of, okay, I'll just have, you know, a little bit of fun messing up with her mind because she's asking me to give money to her for classes. And now I'm going to ask money from her to do her classes. So how much of more fun I get. Like, that's like so much fun.
So, so she asked that if I'll do your class if you pay me money for that. Is that what she asked?
She said, give me 1.5 lakh, okay? Because I need to do this class of yours too, that class and other classes that you're promoting too. So give me about that much and I'll do all those classes. The moment she
Oh,
said
okay.
that, the other lady ran away, okay? So I'm just giving an example, okay? That's not the only way you can have fun. So I don't know. I would say in Access, we have this beautiful thing called clearing and beautiful thing called question. So when you ask a question, a possibility is going to show up in your universe and it's going to look different for Priya, different for you, and different for Vijay and all of us, right? So I just ask a question, how much more fun can I have with this sales guy? And it's always a different one.
I just wanted to know if you have a narcissist as a friend and the person always find fault, you're in the wrong, even you know the person always he starts doing or everything wrong, but always put the blame on you. How can you use the manipulation? Like, I know you say to our advantage, but he's a narcissist, he's a controller, he's he's a manipulator, he's everything, you know. He's psychic, he's a healer, he has all the advantage to you know, and he's using it, and then he tries to control people and then try to make people wrong when he has started everything. So how in this situation can you use manipulation to deal with this kind of person?
Okay. I can tell you what I did with someone who was like that with me. You know what? I use crying as a manipulation tool. It's like, how can you do this to me? I'm like, you know, you've been controlling me. I know you've been doing that. And I know I got to know this, that you did this to me and you said this about me. I literally cried buckets in front of that person. And from that day onwards, he was super kind to me.
He said to me, stop your drama. I know you, because I cry for everything. Everything I cry. He said, stop your drama. I know what you're doing, so
So
stop your
ask
drama.
wonderful. Looks like he's super smart. So now how can you outcreate this manipulator? I would ask that question instead of giving you an answer because it's
Okay.
going to be different for every individual, right? And what
Yes.
is up for you, I have no idea. But keep asking this question that what energy space consciousness can I be to outcreate this person, outcreate the manipulation of this person and everything that doesn't allow, destroy or get all of that. Right from Goodbye Pawan Pakolan, Church boys and beyonds. So what energy, space consciousness can I be to outcreate this manipulator? And every
We lost you.
oh, sorry guys, I got muted. Consciousness can I be to now this run with all of that. Right? Yeah, there are manipulators who would know that you are manipulating them too. They're so aware. Yeah, did you
We
lose
lost
me?
you. Yeah, yeah. We lost you
Now?
totally. Now
Can we
it's
get that
better.
last clear? Can we get that last clearing from you again? Because we
Yes,
totally lost your voice.
I got a call and that's when I got muted. So that's where you must have lost me. So I'm sorry about that and the internet connection too. There was a heavy rainfall today evening. So what energy, space, consciousness can you be to outcreate this manipulator, whoever you're talking about? And everything that doesn't allow, shall we now destroy and get all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, point for color in shorts, boys and beyonds. So, Priyanka, if you have partners who are doing backstabbing and doing things to you behind your back,
I can't hear you.
You are muted. Yeah, okay.
no, I'm saying that if you have these people in your world who are manipulating you or backstabbing you, do you really want to have them in your world?
What about it's your husband then?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. So I would say, um, 1 second. So I would say that, if Gary has these 5 elements of intimacy, right? And 3 elements of creating good relationship. And one of that is honor and trust. So, and Gary says that if you have the 5 elements of intimacy with self, you can create that with the rest of the world too. So if somebody is dishonoring you, if somebody is disrespecting you, if somebody is not trusting you or not having gratitude for you or not having judgment for you, for me it was a total changer when I looked at where am I dishonoring myself, where am I not in gratitude of myself, where do I judge myself. So I looked at all the 5 elements of intimacy with self. Where am I not being vulnerable? And when that happened, when I looked at that and did an interesting point of view for every stupid point of view I had about myself, and everywhere I was like, I ran this clearing like crazy. What energy, space, consciousness can I be to have honor, trust, gratitude, allowance, vulnerability with myself for all eternity, and everything that doesn't allow this to get all of that right from to that point for color and shows and beyond. So basically, I had to develop those elements for myself, and when I started demanding that from me for myself, I started demanding that from other people too, and that changed my relationship too. I know what you're talking about, and I can understand where you're coming from. However, starts here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Does that create some clarity to answer?
Yeah, I have already done my
So
foundation
I'll
few
give you
months
an
back.
example. I started demanding respect.
I want peace in my life. I am the person
So
who
I would
says
suggest
things.
just pick up the topic.
There is some internet issue.
Okay. So you are somebody in your life who I couldn't get you actually?
Priya,
So you said you
yeah,
have
I
peace
was
in your
just,
life.
I want peace in my life. I want, I'm doing my work, you mind your own work. Don't bother me, I won't bother you. Still, people
Okay.
create a problem in our life. What we supposed to do? Where now? What manipulation we have to do in this part?
Hmm. Okay. So manipulation is one of the tool. Okay. What if we get out of the judgments that we have about self and the other, and sometimes they would be actually very obvious to us, and sometimes they are not very obvious to us. So everything that upsets you, whatever your husband does that upset you?
Yes.
Okay. So when things upset us, right, there are some points of views there that are not very, very obvious to us, and they are probably underneath the layer of those emotions and feelings that we have. So we need to go under them and clear them, make them interesting points of views. So when you clear all the places where you get hurt by what other person says or whatever other people do, you would start creating a space for yourself where you have these five elements of intimacy for you. And it's not very hard to have these five elements of intimacy. You don't have to remember those five elements also. If you can just be present to everywhere something is upsetting you, creating, some kind of disturbance in your world, you just look at the points of views, or if they are not very obvious, just go interesting point of view, I have this point of view, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And when you keep doing that, you will have a level of freedom that I can assure you would be so different than what you imagine right now. And when we change that, right, what happens is the other person changes too. And this is something from my own experience. It was there in my universe for a long time, and when the lockdown happened, I realized I still have it. Like I have some more of it. It's like not everything is gone. So first few days of lockdown, it was interesting point of view. I have this point of view for me, and I did that like crazy, and I put it under my bed also in a loop. Like interesting point of view, I have this point of view for everything that was making me upset about my family, about my husband, about my daughter, everything, about my parents, everything. And when I did that exercise, like a rigorous exercise of interesting point of view, for next 2.5 months, I was free.
Thank you. I will do this for sure. For sure.
Yeah, please. The whole consciousness or the way to use tools is everywhere you're feeling heavy or everywhere you have some kind of charge. That's the best time to use the tool. So
And
if you
Priya,
can
we can
just,
do one more. Yes, we can do one more thing in this. We just renounce, reclaim all the oath vows we have taken any birth time. Could you help on
yes,
this?
yes. So the clearing for that is all the oaths, vows, fealties, communalities, commitments, swearings, binding and bonding contracts you have had with your husband across lifetimes, dimensions, and realities. Can you now revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, destroy, and quit all of those times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right from good, bad, pound for corner, and shorts, boys, and beyonds, and uncreate and destroy your relationship with him. Right from good, bad, pound for corner, and shorts, boys, and beyonds. And what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equal to MC square to create a comfortable distance between you and your husband? Are you choosing everything that is
Yes.
times a godzillion? Shall we now disjoint all of that?
Yes,
Right from
please.
Vrindat Colin, Church Boys and Beyonds. Put this on a loop too. Like along with interesting point of view, I also had these clearings in the loop, and it changed so much. I can tell you from my own experience that these basic tools that I've used have changed my life. It's changed my relationship, and it changed me, and it changed everything around me.
कंप्लीटली अग्री प्रिया और इट्स लाइक टाइम कि हम लोगों ने सेट किया था कि इतना क्रैप होगा तभी मुझे अवेयरनेस आएगा एंड आई विल डू दिस एंड सिंस मॉर्निंग आई एम प्रैक्टिसिंग दिस द सेम थिंग एंड आई एम फीलिंग लाइटर नाउ कि जैसे कितना सारा मैंने बर्डन एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वाज ऑन माय बॉडी एंड इट शेड ऑफ विद दीज क्लियर स्टेटमेंट्स
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. And all of a sudden, your message pop up with Vijay, and I just selected कि मेरे लिए ये I have to go over there now. Manipulation we have to learn with the partner.
Yes. And have fun with manipulation. It's
Yes.
total fun when you are in allowance of everything. It's like somebody would come and say, hey, you're a bitch, and you would laugh to it. If you start laughing at everything that's happening in your world, no, you have reached a level of consciousness in your world. And that's awesome place to be.
Thank you.
Okay,
Priya.
cool. Thank you for the wonderful questions, and I love the conversation that we had today. It personally changed so much for me. Every time I have this conversation, I go back to the past and I'm like, oh wow, that was there. I had addressed it that way. Thank you for making me, revisit all of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I had a lot of questions while I just saw this, Vijay, when he posted, and they're all answered through the call. All of them are answered.
Wow, thank you. Okay, anything else?
If you can just tell a bit about manipulating ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful question, by the way. Manipulating self, what does that look like? And it's going to look different for all of us. And I would say being totally vulnerable with self creates that space where you can manipulate yourself too. See, when we are willing to look at the good, the bad, and ugly in us, then we are willing to change it too. Okay, but when you're not willing to look at the good, the bad, and ugly, you cannot even get to that space where you can manipulate yourself to greatness.
So how can you use manipulation with anger?
With anger?
Yeah.
With anger, most of things don't work. They actually just, anger just destroys. I would say instead of anger, use intensity. Intensity is like 1 minute you would be raising your voice and shouting at someone, and it feels like you are being angry with them. With the next moment, you are down to a zero level where the voice is normal, you are calmer, and all of it. So what if the intensity is a place where you don't have charge or point of view about anything. You are just making sure that things happen that way. So it's the ultimate form of control without actually having a judgment of other people or things around you. It's like this got to happen this way, and you make sure that happens that way. You raised your voice, now you're calmer. And you don't judge that person, you don't judge the situation, and you don't have any expectation that it has to change. But because you be the intensity that you be, you change anyway everything. Yeah. So for Priya, the greatest form of manipulation that I use for myself is I keep telling myself that, oh, you're pathetic, you're doing this unconsciousness and pain and suffering again. This is like a self-whip for me. Every time a pain or suffering or anything that shows up is like, oh my God, I'm doing that again. Wake up. You can't become, greater than Gary. For me, like I know I'm choosing Gary as a reference, but I would like to outcreate Gary. I would like to outcreate all the people who are actually choosing consciousness. Not from the space of competition, but from the space of how can I create greater? Because that kind of gives me that hope also that okay, something is possible there. So I use Gary as a manipulation technique for myself. How can I outcreate Gary? How can I outcreate Gary in manipulation? How can I outcreate Gary in consciousness? How can I outcreate all the other facilitators? That's a form of manipulation for me. Use what works for you. Thank you so much. And Vijay, thank you so much for arranging this. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, ma'am.